tell you this as a board game reviewer, don't trust board game reviews. Let's cut to the intro. Now, I'm not trying to put the industry into turmoil here, but I do feel that there are important things to know that if you're going into purchasing a board game, you should understand board game reviews. So during the 2017 Brisbane Comic Con convention, myself and Dylan hosted a panel where we discussed whether you can trust board game reviewers or not. Now, as I said, we're not trying to be overly controversial, but we are trying to be open and honest about the process and hopefully empower you as consumers and also challenge us as reviewers to up our game, to really try and provide the best service we can. I mean, this is Dylan, who co-owns Vault Games in Brisbane City. He is invested in selling games, so the idea that he wouldn't want board game reviewers to providing good content or even people to be listening and buying board games from board game reviews is a little bit crazy. So we're clearly not trying to bring down the industry, but we are trying to provide some insight into how this works and why we work the way that we do, and maybe what makes a good board game review, trying to create some sort of, I don't know, metric, some sort of standard by which we should be judged as board game reviewers. I mean, this is what I love to do. I love to write board game reviews. So, of course, I want to hold myself to a high standard as well as expecting a little bit more from the industry that I work in. And I think that the discussion is important. The reason it's taken so long is because I kind of lost the SD card that it was stored on, but I found it, and I'm very happy to find it, very happy to share it with you, hoping you enjoy the conversation too. Now, it is at a comic book convention. The lighting is pretty terrible, the sound can be pretty terrible, the video footage flicks between light and dark depending on the screen footage, but you can see the screen footage really well and you can see us pretty well. So I think it's a great discussion. I think you'll be able to get a lot out of it. Now, everything was relevant at the time of recording, so clearly some information such as Pandemic Legacy being #1 on BGG is no longer accurate, but I think you'll still be able to get the picture. I mean, I think currently it's Gloomhaven, which should really only highlight my point more. Look, I'd also love to hear from you in this discussion. I want to know what you think about board game reviews and what you think of reviewers. Now, this is universal. We're using board game reviewers as our example, but reviewers are found for video games, appliances around the kitchen, clothing stores, all sorts of movies, of course. How could I forget those? All sorts of people doing reviews on all sorts of things, but can we trust them? And what standards should we be setting ourselves to? So here's our argument, here's our discussion. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get a lot out of it.
Welcome to Reviewing the Reviewers, where we review the reviews so that you get better reviews. That's basically what we're trying to do. So
feel free to review us on social media.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Hit subscribe, hit the bell, YouTube.
Yeah, make sure you get notifications.
Do we actually have a YouTube channel?
A few moments later.
We need to get that 10,000 likes today.
Oh man.
Let's smash that like button for us.
More moments later.
It's 2:01.
Is it 2:01?
Yeah, if anything, we're now running behind time.
Wow. It's a good thing we've got nothing to say, really.
Yeah. Read reviews, make your own decisions. That's our talk. Bye.
That's pretty much it. That's what it boils down.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Have you written an introduction?
I've written an introduction.
Do you want me to... Hold on. I can't actually see if these are working, but there you go. This is us.
Alrighty, how are we all today? All three of us. Sweet. Alright. So do you hate games that your friends actually rated 9 out of 10? Do you think Board Game Geek is score as wrong as a 3.2 when you clearly thought that Sushi Go was a 7.6? Did you think Tommy Wiseau's The Room was a cinematic masterpiece?
And it was not.
Well, you're not alone. There are some people who think the same as you. And with the internet giving us unfiltered access to more media than we could possibly consume in several lifetimes, let alone one, it's no surprise that one person's Shawshank Redemption is another's Battlefield Earth, starring John Travolta.
John Travolta, rated #2 on IGN's worst films of all time. Second to?
Is it Tommy Wiseau's The Room?
Nope. Batman and Robin.
Really?
Batman and Robin, number 1.
Those reviewers don't.
Worst film. Mate, those reviewers got it right. All right, I'm Dave Adams. This is Dylan Shearer.
Hello.
He could probably have said that himself, I guess.
I have not. I am Dylan from Vault Games.
And I am from Gamepalooza. We are an Australian online board game reviewing site. So we actually review games, and it's one of the things that I do as part of my job. So, welcome.
Yeah, and at Vault Games we sell games, and I also make games under Table Tyrant Games as a publisher as well for board games. And we play a lot of board games as well. So we play a lot of stuff. We see the reviews, and most of the reviews are wrong.
Essentially rubbish. But we're here to talk about that. Come with us, if you will, on a journey through the review process as we discuss the ins and outs, the thinking behind it. And I'm just checking to see. So this is Mountains of Madness, Rob Davio. Is anyone a board game fan here? Yeah,
Hey, Sheriff of Nottingham,
Sheriff
well done.
Nottingham, nice. I know Charles is. He's up back there.
Yeah, look at that.
Mate.
He's got Sheriff of Nottingham, meaning he'll have no friends in about a week.
That's right.
You think I've got friends now?
Well, you should have gotten a solo adventure. I could recommend a few if you want. So Mountains of Madness is coming out. It's based on the Lovecraftian theme. I love Lovecraft. I got introduced through Eldersign. I am now just starting to read through the work because I thought, I love the game so much, I should actually read the things. But here's the thing. Rob Davio has made some really great games. And here's the thing. Rob Davio has made some really bad games. So the question is, how do I trust what this game's going to be? And I suppose if you're going to consume content, you're probably looking at reviews yourself. You look on the reviews at the back of the boxes, they'll often have little things like, this is an astounding game, a fantastic game, this is the best movie of 2017. Can we trust them? How do we trust them? What can we do about it? That's what we're here to ask. So, as a board game reviewer and as someone who consumes board games, I tend to go to a lot of different reviewers, these guys included, there's a few. But the reality is, which ones are the best? And I suppose we all have our patterns of choosing. Maybe that's through, do you try to find someone who reviews objectively? I have things like, I naturally instinctively dislike anyone who just loves everything about every game, ever. I don't trust them. But the question is, well, how do we trust? Who do we trust? How do we trust? What do we do? So we're going to have a look at that. Because the reality is, all of these reviewers are biased. And Dylan's going to walk us through some of the stats there. You got some of the...
Yeah. So the first major thing you need to know about reviews is they are always biased. Every reviewer has their own personal biases. You can claim to remove it and say, oh, this is a completely neutral review, but the truth is, if they're unbiased, they're lying. Just as an example of that, there was an analysis done on Amazon reviews. It's much broader than board gaming, but an analysis of over 7 million Amazon reviews found that if they got free or discounted items during the review, they were likely to rate an item up to 0.6 of a star higher, just purely because they got it for free. So most reviewers do that. They do get the free stuff, just so that they could get so they're just going to review stuff, they don't have to pay money for it. Obviously, that's just going to happen. But with that comes the bias of, I no longer paid money for this, so I no longer have a stronger urge to critique it. So
there's the sense of obligation that you feel to the people who give you the free product. I know that I used to review movies, so you would get treated tickets essentially, and you get a really great night out. It was a great night out, and I watched some really bad films on those great night outs, but they put on a show for you, and they do it intentionally because they want you to go out and to say something positive about the experience, and you see the misery on the page. Maybe a year or two later when you go back and read your review and realize what you've done, maybe you weren't as 100% honest as you could have been.
And Batman and Robin was not that great, dude.
Batman and Robin was terrible.
Still that bias, or?
Yeah.
Yep. So another little cool thing to look at now, a lot of people use crowdsourced opinions as the other option, right? So you go to Amazon and you look at all the stars, oh, it's got a 5-star review. Even on Facebook, 5-star review. But the truth is, when it comes to the quality of a product, a study done by some guys at Harvard Business School found that the actual and perceived validity of online user ratings is not true. The quality of a product, the objective quality of a product, and the online reviews were so vastly different that you could flip a coin and have a better result of whether the objective quality of the item would match the user reviews. So it's absolutely nuts. If you guys want to look that up, that's Navigating by the Stars, investigating the actual and perceived validity of online user ratings.
Did you write that down?
Write it down. I didn't see a pen. That's ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
You take your photo, yeah.
Yeah, but it's...
Oh yeah. Actually, you're right. I did. I had it up there. There you go. You can go and look that up yourself. Took a picture. Hey. It'll also be. I'm going to post a video of this event. So if you really do enjoy this, you can watch it again and again and again. Give it a thumbs up, I guess.
Yeah. And
because that's a real meaningful review, isn't it?
Absolutely, and with that too, in the study, they found that also the price point of a product actually changes the overall user review for the product as well, despite it being just as effective as a flip.
That's a good point. But there is something going on inside our brain. So I'm going to quickly explain why this is. This is actually something they've done studies on, believe it or not. And it started kind of with this guy who spent the last 20 years doing research into this. He's a psychologist and ethicist. His name's Jonathan Haidt, and he works at the New York University. And he studied this for the last good number of years. And what he does is he writes stories. But he writes really uncomfortable stories. Stories so uncomfortable I probably can't share them in a public setting like this.
Please don't.
So I'll go for the most tame one I can, which has to do with flag burning. Now, this is not advocating anything, but one of the stories he tells is he says, it's the destruction of a flag, I should say. He says there's an old lady, he tells the story of an old lady who goes, she opens up a cupboard, finds a flag, doesn't want it anymore, cuts it up, uses it for rags to clean the house, puts the rags away, no one sees them. Now, here's the thing. He tells these stories to people across the political spectrum. And he always finds this one thing. People on the political left listen to the story and say, well, yes, when asked if she's done anything morally wrong, they will say universally no. And it's always the same people on the same political agenda. They will say, no, she didn't do anything wrong. They may not agree with the act, but it's her right, her liberty, it's her place to do it. People on the political right will always say, yes, she did do something morally wrong. She destroyed something which represents freedom and for the lives of people who fought for it. Here's what he discovered over the course of his time. He discovered that people make decisions using their intuition first. Every time. Intuition comes first. Rationalization, our process of thinking about why we believe that, comes second and is always to justify what we feel. So even though you've got the one story, each person will come up with rationalizations to justify why they felt that way. It's the same for game reviews. Our games create intuitive responses. We feel something about the game first, then we rationalize why we felt that way. And so the idea of creating good experiences for gamers, giving them free stuff, giving them nice events to go to, is so that they will feel good about the product and then rationalize why they feel good about it to you. It's just human nature. It's nothing inherently, no one's trying to be deceptive when they give you their review. No one's trying to tell you lies, necessarily, but it's human nature. So I guess the question is, how do we deal with this? Because here's a game that if you're a board gamer, you would know, Pandemic Legacy. #1 on BGG. It's the #1 game on the biggest board gaming networking site. #1 by far, and it shot up the list. It was one of the fastest growing. It got there quicker than any other game. Here, and just listen to some of the things that people said about it. They said things like, this is not an ordinary board game experience. It's out of the league. The excitement and the suspense, the game changes as you play it. If you've never tried it before, this is the perfect door to the legacy system. Or you've got, this might be the single most important board game experience to have. The fact that this is temporary is the strength and weakness. The experience that almost leaves you mourning its loss when it's over. That is some of the reviews for Pandemic Legacy. Here are some other reviews for Pandemic Legacy. Finally, we finished the game tomorrow. This was the worst 18 games in my 2 years adventure and board gaming world. After the first 8 months, my rating was 7. Now, after ending my rating, it is 2. Ending is horribly designed. I won't play Pandemic Legacy anymore. Or things like, I left feeling unsatisfied. I'd rather play one versus all. People hate the game. People love the game. But so long as we realise that these are felt experiences first. And those feelings will get rationalised. The reality is all those rationalisations, maybe it is about the game experience. Maybe it is the ending. But really, it's people trying to rationalise what they felt about a game. So what can we do?
That is good. What can we do? Well, the first thing is don't believe what you read. So, straight up, don't even listen to what we're saying. Like, judge everything. That sounded really anarchist. Basically, when you complete a movie or a game or a piece of music or a book or whatever, sit back and have a think and do your own critique of it. Like, what did you like? What did you not like about it? Because when you know those aspects of yourself, you can actually go through and start finding reviewers that match your style. Now, the reason I say that is it's not trying to find the echo chamber where, oh, well, this person said they liked it, so I'm going to like it, blah, 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 blah. The point of that is to find the reviewer that matches your style so that if they don't like it, you have a rough understanding that maybe you won't either. And because there's so many reviewers now, like even in board games, there's a Facebook group of over 3,000 Kickstarter board game reviewers that I can put a post up and get 150 copies out to within a week, because everyone wants to make board game reviews.
Absolutely, because everybody likes getting free stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's be honest, people love getting free stuff. But the thing is, spending time knowing what you like and dislike, understanding your likes, helps you make more informed decisions about you. All right, and that's the only person that you should be invested in when buying something. I mean, obviously, unless it's a gift for someone, clearly. But then sometimes it helps, if you know that you like it and then you can take it off their hands later.
Yeah.
However,
it's going to be re-gifted, right? So.
We've all done it, come on. But the reality is that you're trying to buy something that you want to consume, so get to know what you like, dislike. For instance, I know that I can generally go with Tom Vassell. Tom Vassell and I have similar gaming interests. He has steered me wrong once or twice, I will admit it.
For those wondering, Tom Vassell is one of the co-founders and head creators of the Dice Tower Network, one of the second biggest board gaming network beyond Board Game Geek.
Beyond Board Game Geek,
And they're so big that you probably even see it on that Sheriff of Nottingham box that actually has a logo there saying Dice Tower Seal of Excellence.
It's a Dice Tower Essentials.
Yeah. So
Dice Tower Essentials.
So that they're big enough that a logo on the box to board gamers will go, oh, well, maybe I should get this game. Well,
that's right.
According to our panel, though, remember, don't just get the game because you see the logo.
Well, that's right. You know not to do that. But still read my reviews, right? Also, you've got to watch playthroughs. If you get the chance, watch a playthrough. Totally check those out. Here's the thing. They are also designed to influence you. Right? They're playing games to make them seem exciting. But at least you get to see how the game plays. Because there are games, which I've watched, Tabletop is one of the biggest playthrough events that, gaming YouTube channels. But there are games that they've played on that show that not even they could hide how bad the game was. Alright? It's harder that way. You at least get to see how it works. And there are times where I go, okay, I get it. They had fun. That was fun to watch, but I'm never buying that game. It is not for me. It is not for me. You obviously agree.
I've watched a lot of Tabletop episodes.
Was that sorry?
I've watched a lot of Tabletop.
Watched a lot of it. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is they're trying to make it sound exciting. They want to sell a program to you. They want you watching it. They get 250,000, 500,000, sometimes over 1 million views for a single episode. It's a good revenue income, sells the game. The biggest issue is that, we know that once a game goes on Tabletop, it becomes pretty much impossible to get. Almost impossible. And so it's a big deal to get their game on there. But they're trying to make it exciting. However, it's great to see a game played through. It really is. But also, just learn to know which reviewers you like. I know it sounds silly, I know it sounds simple, but if you have a reviewer that you've bought a game and you went, oh, I actually really did enjoy that the way they said, then go and listen to more of their stuff. Some of the things we've done, I think you guys have done it too on your website, but when we do reviews, we have eradicated the 5-star system, the thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Some of the things we do on Game of Palooza is we essentially try to share a story about the game. We try to personalize it, so it's really, this is my experience of the game. I will talk about my experience. But the other thing is, to be a little bit more objective, I will intentionally try to find elements of the game that other people will either not like or like, as a way of saying, talking about all the mechanics and the elements of the game, so that there is a fuller picture of the game and how it's played, and it's not confused with my experience. Because I've reviewed some games I've hated, but they're not necessarily bad. And I can tell you that because one of the videos on our YouTube channel is our review of Pandemic Legacy. It's probably our most viewed video, and we wail on it for almost an hour. We hated it, but it's the #1 game. People love it. The most negative feedback I've gotten on a video was people going, "How did you not like this game?" I said, "It's easy. First the game sucked, and then I played it. That's how." But the thing is it doesn't suck, really. The game doesn't suck. It's a great game. It's well crafted. It's well designed. It's well put together. It tells a great story, and some people will love it. I didn't. That's my intuitive gut reaction to the game. And I will try and rationalize that as best I can. I'll try and explain that as best I can, but it doesn't mean that you won't like it yourself. And that's the reality.
So, yeah, that's basically it. You just need to look for reviewers that match your style. One particular thing, going back to Board Game Geek. So who here is familiar with Board Game Geek? Okay, so like
okay.
All right. So Board Game Geek is, as we said before, like the largest directory of board games and reviews on the internet. It's all crowdsourced, everything, all the crowds throw up their reviews, they say what their collection is, they get badges, they're fans, they do forums, all that kind of stuff. The problem with Board Game Geek, and I'm seeing a lot of people in this audience that may have the same problem with Board Game Geek, a lot of middle-aged white dudes are on Board Game Geek, and that is a factor you need to understand when looking at the user reviews. That the source that you're getting the review from may not even fit your own demographic. Yeah, it's quite interesting seeing that. And then when you start breaking down the board game reviews on Board Game Geek, you can start to see that there's more of a shift towards Euro style games. So does anyone know what the difference between a Euro style and an American style or thematic style game is? So a Euro style game, basically a Euro style game is a game that you can take the mechanics out of, put into another setting, and it'll still be the same game. It's all about strategy, it's all about working up an engine, doing engine building, that kind of stuff.
Take this cube, trade it for 2 of these cubes, and then take those 2 cubes and trade them from some other cube that you might need later on.
Yeah.
And then everybody scores points for everything that you do.
Yes.
That's Euro.
That's basically a Euro game. Whereas a thematic game, or also called Ameritrash, I hate that name, is where the game's theme and art style is tied directly to the mechanics. Something like King of Tokyo is a good example for those that play King of Tokyo, where it's all about rolling dice as a big monster to beat down other monsters. So on Board Game Geek, because of the demographics of the site, there's a propensity towards higher reviews to Euro style games as well. So again, if you don't like Euro games, such as myself, you will try to avoid Board Game Geek as a source of truth for your reviews.
So Board Game Geek has the top, they have all their games ranked and rated. And the top 10 are predominantly heavy style Euro games. You've got a couple of thematic games, not a lot. In fact, if you go through the top 50, 100, the majority are heavy style games. That means that for these people, their ideal game is to spend 4 hours pushing components around on a board, at a minimum.
Yeah.
You know? Number 1 is Pandemic Legacy. You have to play 18 hours of the game to get through the story. Number 2 is Through the Ages, which means you need 4 hours, I think, to play through. Number 3 is Twilight Struggle. You need 3 hours to play through it. right, granted, I will play Twilight Struggle and put up for 3 hours. It's fine.
Yeah, you're the only one.
However, it is very hindered towards. But you also got to think about, again, the sort of person who goes onto a website and puts in their own personal review on a game is a very specific type of individual.
They either really, really love it or really, really hate it.
They're most likely engineers, probably. I'm just putting that out there.
It's actually kind of hard. You might see this in a lot of user reviews as well. It's a lot of if you're looking at a 5-star, a lot of 3-star reviews are people that are just completely neutral. They're just like, oh yeah, well, 3-star. And you'll find that a majority of reviews sit 1 to 2-star or 5-star. But that 3 to 4 period is where neutral people, and you probably have much lower percentage of people coming in and saying, this is what I thought about this.
Even the best part is when doing on psychological testing, when rating other people's performance or other people's products, men will always score lower than women. So they will always pull points back rather than be extravagant.
We're very critical.
It's just, again, it's just trying to get the idea that these things are biased towards an audience. And if you're going to be a consumer of a product, then the best thing to do is to be as informed about your own personal interests as possible. With that said, I don't think we've got much time, to be honest.
Oh, it's like 2:25.
Is it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've only been talking for like 20 minutes apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
You see, this
is so unusual for us.
I know, but we could wrap it on. I have no problem doing that.
But another thing is, anyone here like make games or make content for the internet at all? You kind of do? Alright. Well, one thing to do is that if you ever do game development or content creation, one thing is to really find if you're a game developer, a content producer that matches what your target market is. So say if you're making, like for instance, myself, when I come making my 2 games, Smiths of Winterforge and Tavern Fame, those 2 games went to 2 very different reviewers because they were 2 very different games. So I purposely took them to reviewers that I knew would be more of a Euro style lover, because that's what more of Smiths of Winterforge is, whereas Tavern Fame was a party casual game with fantasy elements. So I found reviewers that matched that style because I knew they're not going to give me a 1-star review.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to understand as both a content creator and a game developer, is that the biases of reviewers can be both your favor, be in your favor and in your detriment as well. So you want to make sure that you're speaking to the market that you want to speak to through the medium that they're more likely to consume.
But here's the thing: even knowing the whole bias of the reviewing process, you wouldn't have made those games and not had them reviewed.
Oh no, they'd have to be reviewed, and that's a whole nother level. I can give you guys a marketing 101 on social proof, but we would be here until 4:30.
Oh, I've got time.
I don't. But yeah, I think I've got nothing else really to say.
Well, I mean, I could go back into flag burning if you want.
No, we're not talking about flag burning.
I got a whole lot on the psychology of it. All right.
God. This is how you get on a watch list.
The psychology of it. It's not that hard. It's not that bad. The fact is that one of the things that Jonathan talks about is that we are evolutionally geared towards thinking intuitively, because it cuts out a whole bunch of our process. So the fact that we are intuitive isn't a bad thing at all, because it cuts down we get to skip entire processes of thinking that really lead us to draining out and trying to, if we had to nut through every single decision we made and understand the logic behind it, it would be a problem. So intuitive thinking is natural and it's normal and it's good. It actually helps us cognitively. It takes off what's called a cognitive load. So we're not actually weighed down with the weight of every decision we make. So I see a food product, I instinctually hate it, but my other instinct is to tell my wife that it looks lovely and I look forward to eating it. Because I have an instinct to self-preserve.
Yeah,
it's self-preservation.
Self-preservation, yeah.
It's fun. Same, in all fairness, they have to eat my food too. It's not necessarily a great turnaround. But the thing is, though, is that initial response is a whole system. It's a whole ecosystem that you grow up in. So your background, your culture, your identity is feeding into your intuitive, instinctual decision making. And it's great, and you can influence that over time. But rationalizing it is a process that we go through so that we feel normal in the world. Because the reality is the majority of people, so I'm going to burst some bubbles here, the majority of people, no matter how mad you are, feel that you're normal. And I've experienced this. I'm a school teacher. I know that abnormality is part of my personality. But I have to rationalize that I'm normal, or otherwise I would want to die, literally. And so it's a self-preservation to rationalize our instincts. So this whole thing that we go into where we start to look at reviewing is not only instinctual, but it also helps us on a sociological level, because when I read reviews, I also get to compare what I know with other people. So I get to feel a part of the community. So all of that rationalizing that helps me feel normal is further cemented when I have a community of people who make me feel normal. So when I read reviews that agree with me, I'm like, yes, that person knows what they're talking about because I know what I'm talking about. Therefore, that person agrees with me and they are smart. And when someone disagrees with me, it's exactly the same opposite. What an idiot. Clearly they don't know what they're talking about. Didn't they see X, Y, Z? It's all just about feeling normal.
That's also called confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias, that's right.
That's a whole other thing when it comes to internet arguments that I'm sure you'll find on the internet.
But it's actually really healthy. So the whole review process is a healthy one. And I don't want you to walk away feeling it's unhealthy. But if you want to make informed decisions, it's important to understand what you know and why you know it and why you think that way. So it's really useful on that level. However, I'm happy to see if there's any questions before we kick ourselves off the stage. I don't want to keep going into this because I feel like there's going to be some psych major and they're going to go, hang on, you didn't explain this very clearly. Yep.
Have you ever given a bad review to a game you funded on Kickstarter?
Have I ever given a bad review to a game?
Yeah, Dave. Have you ever given a bad review to a game you funded on Kickstarter? Were they one of my games?
Do we have the fifth over here? Is that something I could plead in Australia? No, look, honestly, the challenge is, one of the things I find as a reviewer is you want to support the community. And when I come across bad games, I try to be constructive. I don't just do a smackdown. I've never done a takedown piece, and I've never been intent on trying to destroy someone's reputation, credibility, because I create content, and I know what it's like to have people wail me. This week, I did a video saying, thanks, Len Wein, creator of Wolverine, for everything you did before you died this week. I was really moved. I was like, Len Wein died. That was a big deal. So I did a video saying, thanks, Len Wein. Someone disliked it. It was just saying thanks to a dead person. And they gave me a thumbs down. What heartless, cruel, soulless individual gives that a thumbs down?
Someone who obviously loved Batman a lot more.
Probably. The thing is let's try it. But the crazy thing is you get that one negative, and again, going back to how we are as humans, they reckon for every 13 positive things, we'll drown out 13 positive things for every one negative. So that only got 6 thumbs up and 1 down, so I need another 7 thumbs up before I feel okay with this.
It's a net negative, really.
I'm still in the negative. I'm still hurting over that thumbs down. But it impacts me because I create content, and I don't like the idea that people look at my content and go, well, that was crap. I want them to go, oh, that guy's awesome. Like that guy's outfit over there, Rex. Good job. That's amazing. That is a thumbs up. Well done.
It's a good Krogan. Just the head's way uglier than normal.
That's all right.
Anyway,
pretty young. But the thing is, as a creator, I want people to like my stuff. I know what it feels like to be rejected, and so I don't like to do takedown stuff. However, I don't necessarily say that I liked things. What I have said is, here are the positives, and you can see it. You can see it on. If you ever go to Kickstarter and you look at their reviews, and people are saying, well, here are some positives, and if you're this sort of person and they don't actually say this was great, you know they're holding back, and you do need to second guess. But it's not fun. It's the nuances of navigating a creative environment and trying not to be a douchebag in the process. But yeah, I just think you need to be straight up front. Realize that my intuitive experience may not be the full experience, and I need to be firm. I need to say this may not be for everyone. I have done that before. I've said there are some people, and I will describe a character like me, not necessarily me, but someone with perhaps my likes and interests, who would not enjoy this game.
Whose name rhymes with shave.
Shave.
Yeah,
that's right. But you have to be diplomatic.
Yeah, absolutely. As a content creator, I can confirm that we do not like being told that our games suck. It makes us feel bad.
Makes us feel bad.
So yeah, that also comes down to, that's part of the territory of being a content creator. Someone's going to tell you suck.
So you have to understand that's having a bit of a thick skin about it.
Yeah.
Just remember, just go and find the people who will confirm what you already know. You'll be fine.
That's absolutely correct. I think that, any more questions? No? Cool, I think that's it. If you guys want to see more from Dave and hear more about what Dave does, you can check out gamerpalooza.com.au. Dave is one of the writers there. He does game reviews, game content.
Do a lot of meta writing, which is writing about gaming rather than just the games themselves.
And I'm Dylan from Vault Games. You can find us over in the tabletop section this weekend. We've got a library of games for you completely free to play. We also opened up a store almost a year ago now on Charlotte Street in the city. It's got a game library of over 200 games that you are more than welcome to come in and play for free. We got coffee, snacks, drinks, beer and cider, all available for you to have a chill and play some games for hours, and then we're open till late, 6 days a week, and shut at 6 on Sundays.
Doing Magic pre-releases.
Yeah, Magic pre-release all weekend this weekend. And then we've got miniatures, RPGs. Find us on Facebook, Vault Games, and you'll see all our events on there.
And if you're around tomorrow at 2, we're doing Nerds of Wisdom game show. So we're essentially just having, we've got a couple of panelists coming. We've got Board Game Girl. She is on Instagram. She's, I think she's up to 60,000 followers. We've got Paul Mason from over at, he does Phantom Kid, or Kid Phantom, sorry. I'm dyslexic. So he does. He's an artist. He's coming on, and we're going to be pulling people up from the audience. We've got prizes. We've got giveaways. It's going to be a whole bunch of nerd pop trivia. So feel free to come on to that 2 p.m. tomorrow if you're around. On that, thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Please, if you like what we're doing, hit that like button. If you are new to this community, hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you a part. And I'd like to hear from you in those comments. What do you think of what our position on board game reviews, or on any review really? And do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think there's something we've missed in our discussion? Let us know. Until next time, my name's Dave Adams. You've been watching Nerds of Wisdom. Bye.